glad to see you all today. Thanks for coming. We're going to start today with a whole bunch of announcements. Oh, I need one thing. Just a second. Come on. All right, a whole bunch of announcements. The first of which is, remember way back to week 4, feels like kind of a long time ago. This was an extra credit opportunity worth 1 point for you. Resolve a nature mystery. That's due to your TA by this Sunday. So you can add it to your journal this week if you want to get that 1 point of extra credit. Where you, do you all down here have a question? Is there something I can help? Okay, sure, thanks. So you can hand it to your TA. The idea is that you're going to take a picture or make a sketch of something and then figure out what it is you're seeing. This is a great time of year to do that. So I feel like there's lots of extra talking. Does anybody out there have extra questions? Any questions that I can help with? All right, then we'll go ahead and continue. All right, resolve a nature mystery. Then Kiss the Ground, extra credit movie with Maddie tonight. Go watch the movie, have a conversation. And then this is really exciting. Next Tuesday, Suzanne Simard, she's going to be speaking here at Penn State in the Flex Theater at the Hub. She is the Huck Distinguished Lecturer in Life Sciences. She's the one that I talked about. I showed the video of her with the trees communicating. And so she is a really respectable researcher doing all kinds of cool work in the world of how forests work, how trees communicate. So this is coming up. I sent all of these to you in Canvas announcements. So that's that. And last night, your TAs and I had a fantastic time getting ready for the field trip. So if you are interested, I'll be sending out an announcement specifically field trip related. And then so I'll send an announcement that's field trip related. This also brings up that Autumn and I have, she has sent you some emails. If you signed up on the clipboard for a TA conversation, she has sent emails to you with the link to sign up on the Google Sheet so that you can have a slot to talk with us. As of right now, we have 10 slots, actually 12 slots available tomorrow. So please come on in and chat with us. We're going to be on the 8th floor of the Ford building tomorrow, and we're looking forward to talking with people. So that's exciting. Blog prompt, next to last blog prompt. The topic for this one is permission. Okay, this class has been a lot about permission. That is giving yourselves permission, maybe permission to express emotions, or maybe permission to make choices or changes in your life that are challenging. So there's a lot more of the prompt there. Thanks to Grace for putting this up for us. Share a story of a time when you gave yourself permission, and what did that do for you? So that's the blog prompt available to you now. Ecological Identity Project, the closing project of this class, right? Kind of the capstone project, is coming up, right? So some questions have been coming up around what is the Ecological Identity Project? There was a page about this around week 8 in your journals. It's around the spring break week. And what it is thinking about and then expressing how are you, specifically you, not humanity as a whole, but you, in I language, part of Earth. What part of Earth do you connect with? When do you experience feelings of connection with the natural world around you? And then I want you to use all the capacities that lie within you to create the project. You can dream and play and create and connect and discover and reflect and relate. Being human means being creative. So if you try to use the excuse, but I'm not creative, it doesn't work, because as humans, we're all creative. So use all of your head, heart, and gut, all of your equipment in alignment to think about how you connect with Earth. At this will be due during your last lab, the week 15 lab. Also that day will be, you'll be presenting the back cover of your journal. The assignment for that, or the details for that, are listed in the syllabus and in the assignment for the back cover. So that's all, we're coming toward the end. We got lots of cool stuff yet to do and to cover, and yet we need to talk about a lot of these final details. So today during class, our topic today is slowing down so that we might fall ahead. Slowing down so that we might fall ahead. So when I ring this bell, we're going to take about 45 seconds or a minute to just tune in to what's happening for you. Tune into your head and your heart, your gut, your body. Are you feeling anxious anywhere inside your body? So just taking a moment to tune in. So a minute, right, of just paying attention. Over the course of this class, that's going to happen 3 more times. Sarah's going to help us by ringing the bell, and when she does, we'll all just get quiet. Just stop what we're doing, take a moment to do that kind of reflection, that tuning in, that bringing things into alignment that we've talked about. So breathing, we talked about on Monday, being flexible in mind and body. Bodies, the ribs expanding, right, to be flexible, allowing us to take those deep breaths. But our minds are flexible as well, right? But just like any study of music or art or science or sport or any kind of new thing that we're trying to do, it requires practice. It requires practice to get that mental flexibility. So coming into this awareness of ourselves, how we're thinking, why we're thinking that, what are we going to do about our thoughts, that all takes practice. So today's topic of slowing down to fall ahead also takes practice. And it doesn't mean just once, like, well, I failed at slowing down, so I guess I can't do it. I'm bad at this. It doesn't work like that. A recent article in the Penn State Newswire this week, quote, identified potential link between respiration, so breathing, and neural activity changes. Breathing allows us to control our emotions. It didn't seem like new research to me, maybe not to you either, but science is catching up with what we sort of already know in our other equipment. The breath calms the mind, and slowing down often means You know, we often say, like, oh, I can't even catch a breath. Like, I'm so busy. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to dive into that. I mentioned this very briefly on Monday, how environment and health and money are connected in this green triangle. So anytime we do something beneficial for one of them, it will almost inevitably do something beneficial for the other two. So for example, let's suppose I decide to make an improvement in my health, like maybe eating less red meat, fewer dairy products. So this decreases, the health part is it decreases my chance of circulatory disease. It may make me stronger and give me greater endurance in my body. But since meat and dairy products are relatively expensive, I'll save money, right, in the process of this change. And I'll also help the environment, since now we know that meat production is pretty land intensive and it's not the best use of our resources. So that's one example. So the interesting thing is that we can start at any point of the triangle. So let's say that I want to do something beneficial for the environment, like walking or bicycling. Some of you, and I've talked to some of you about class from Monday, and so instead of driving my car, so I'm going to do what my intention is for the environment. I'm going to cut down my emissions, but I'm also going to improve my health because I'm reducing smog and lung damage, decreasing acid rain, postponing the greenhouse effect, but I'm also, getting exercise. I'm getting more regular exercise, and I'm saving money because I'm not paying for gas and oil and other car expenses. So you see how they're all connected. So some people are skeptical about good things coming from saving money or thrift. We've talked a lot about consumption, and I'm talking about that overconsumption. Thrift used to be a real American virtue, and it's gone out of style temporarily. But I think that it is all connected. So being aware of our choices. So I'd like you to get with your partner and talk about how this concept sits with you. And together, think of another example. Go for it. Example that they'd like to share? An example that might help all of us learn something new and make new connections? Any examples out there that you want to share? All right, well, it's something for your consideration. Another one that I was thinking about is buying the latest iPhone or upgrading phones, right? That manufacturing expends a lot of energy to create that, uses a lot of new materials, and then I get stressed out because I have to pay off that device. So maybe not getting it, because then, I'm saving the environment, my health, I'm not so stressed, and obviously I'm not spending that money on that thing. So that's another one that I was considering while I was just sitting here. So these classes, what we did, we broke down food and shelter and transportation, and now we're kind of in part 2 of part 3 of the course, where we're talking about, the ways that this is where we've been, and I've brought this up. How can we lower ecological footprint, work less, have more fun, be more free and creative, become more fully human? So the next course classes, today is slowing down, identity, creativity, and freedom. How can we possibly slow down and still live in the current culture's story if we so choose to, or we change our story? So in order to know, we need to look at our story. So take a moment in your journal there. Being slow to you, what does, when you hear that word, what does that mean? And then being fast or busy, what does that mean? Like, again, we're looking at the under layers, peel back the layers and get at the words, the connotations and associations of these words. Going back to dualism, really. I'd love to hear, what does slow mean for you? Microphones are out someplace. Yes, great, thank you.
I put being slow means relaxed, gentle, and comfort.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. What else? Slow means thanks, Anj.
I said that being slow means being grateful.
Ooh.
Because I think when you're able to relax and slow down, you naturally find more things in your life that you're really appreciative of.
Thank you. Yeah, agreed. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Well, for me, in terms of getting work done perspective, being slow means inefficient, unproductive, and distracted.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, a lot of you sound like you're on that side. It's interesting because those are very different connotations of the word slow, right? Ansh, do you have somebody else back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I disagree with whatever, what that person just said, because I think being slow just means being in the moment. I think when you're being fast and busy, you're just not being in the moment, you're just constantly doing, but you're not enjoying what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So you can be slow and be efficient.
Okay. Well, that's interesting too. Yeah. And so I could see where it is kind of disagreeing, but it's also just sharing your perspective, right? It's just a different connotation of the word slow. And that's what, and you also defined how fast and busy, how that relates to what you're talking about. Yes? Go ahead, Ansh. Do you have somebody else? Okay.
Hello, there we go. Okay, for me, being slow means being bored. I'm kind of someone who likes to always be doing something, and when I do take that time to like, slow down and relax, I like don't enjoy it. I want to be doing something.
Okay, interesting. Yep, another whole perspective. That's great. Cool. So I love that words bring out all these connotations, you know? So if I say to somebody, I'm having a slow morning, it could mean all these different things and more. Sometimes to me, a slow morning means that nothing's going quite right. So all these different connotations of the word and understanding that that's the case. Can we do the same thing with fast and busy? Ooh. So can we do the same thing with fast and busy? What are your connotations there? Microphones are out again. How about folks that already spoke so that we need to get some, you know, ideas that go together.
I have one on the balcony up
Great.
here to your
Thank you. To my wish.
left.
Thank you, thank you. Okay.
To me, being fast is my body moving quicker than my brain can follow.
Ooh.
A lot of times I feel like out of control in how I'm moving, and my brain just can't keep up with everything that's going on around me, and I feel like really out of control. And I'm like moving a lot, but my brain is still tired.
Yeah, interesting, thank you. I know that sensation. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Any others, fast or busy? Yeah.
I feel like being slow and being fast really depends on the context.
Yeah.
Sometimes going slow, like if you're working out, it's better to go slow so you can really work your muscles and you can like genuinely do well in what you're doing rather than going faster. And then sometimes it can just be that maybe you were being proactive and so it looks like you're doing something faster, but really you were just on top of things and putting forth effort. I don't think it really has either like a negative or positive connotation. It just depends on what you're doing.
Right, and that's a whole additional view, right? So I love that we've gotten so many different people to speak on this. So in our culture, it tends to be, not everyone, I'm not speaking for everyone, but it tends to be that busier is better, faster is better, more is better, doing is better, the future is better, you know? So this goes into that thing, that the story that we've talked about. If we think about it with a couple of examples, which I feel like helps. So back in the day, we had to visit people. If you wanted to communicate with somebody before telephones, you had to go to their house and sit in their parlor and talk to people. You visited people. It was a very personal experience. And then phones came along and we called each other. And that still can be a very effective means of communication. And you're hearing the voice and you're catching the tone of voice, which is, can often tell you more than the words that people are using. But now we text. And I'm not being critical because I find that I like texting. I'm not much of one to sit and have a phone call. Phone is not my thing. being in person is my favorite, and I'll almost always prioritize in-person conversations over lots of other things, but texting is most efficient. And then, then we have the little like button on the apps that we use. So the communication has just gotten more and more brief, less and less personal. What about connection to food? Another example, people used to cook over a fire. You had to be super intentional. How are you do you have the materials to build the fire? Is the fire gonna get hot enough? Do you know how to put the food on the fire so that it gets cooked properly? And then it was a very mindful process, right? And then the stove or the oven, and now the microwave. And so being mindful about, our food choices has changed. And connection to travel, walking, and then biking, and then cars, and then planes. So then the disconnect to the land that we're spending time on, or the land that now we fly over. So the evolution and advancement of technology is amazing and wonderful in lots of ways. But the original intention sometimes gets lost. We end up being disconnected in ways that we don't see until we kind of do these reflections, right? By not taking time, we sometimes lose track of life. So how did you come to see fast and slow the way you do, if you have those connotations? Is it something in your family? What's the origin of your personal story? Is it being in college and having that impression that you have to be working and fast and busy? So often, this is the result of being too busy and being too disconnected from the self. I'm not critiquing, right? This is just about discovery. It happens to all of us. It happens to me. This idea that getting taken over by what I need to do. This has led to the increasing use of antidepressants. Statistics show that 1 in 6 Americans take antidepressant medication or medication to sleep. That's 65% more Americans taking medicine since 1999. So why? Why are we busy? I first became